Hello, everybody. It is Monday evening, and you know what that means? It is time for the Sunday Night League. We'll give just a maybe half a minute, 2 minutes, whatever it may be, to let people quickly filter in to the stream, and then we'll get going. So yeah, let's just take a moment. So we are here today for the race at St. Croix in France. It is, of course, a fictional circuit. We have a nice mountain range over there, so some beautiful French scenery for us to racing around today. That is possibly a lake over there that you can just see under the sign next to the trees. And yeah, we have a very beautiful circuit for today's race. And yeah, as I said, we'll just take about 10-20 seconds to let people filter into the stream. So I'll just give everyone a second. If you want to grab a drink of water before the race, now is the time. Well, let's get into it. So today on pole position, we have Matt Psycho in the Renault number 16, putting in a very nice lap on the soft compound tires. A small mistake about halfway through the lap, but managing to bring it back quite nicely, and the Renault driver starts on pole, followed by last week's pole sitter and second place finisher, Bunnies. Bunnies in second. Also, a couple small mistakes on his lap on the mediums, though, taking second only about 3/10 off of Matt. Then we have Jam in the Williams. You can see these question marks on the Williams here. So Jam doing a very good job, though, to get third. Those question marks are, of course, based on the real-life livery when Williams went to France in 1997. Couldn't use the tobacco sponsoring, and of course instead put a question mark there. So a very fun little adaptation of the livery for this race, presumably back to normal next week. We will have to wait and see. But the number 7 of Jam in third. Today we have fourth on the grid, we have Speckmere, a big improvement from last week. Speckmere is on the soft compound tires for qualifying and doing very well to put himself in fourth, followed by his teammate. Once again, these two drivers lining up very close together on the grid. Aloe is fifth for today, also in the Lotus, also on the softs. A good start for him, or a good qualifying for him, I should say. Next, we have Cthulhu, our championship leader at the moment. The Tyrrell driver is starting in sixth. He qualified on mediums after winning last time out. Almost maximum points, except Bunny's taking fastest lap. But the win for Cthulhu last time out, it's sixth on the grid today. We'll have to wait and see if he can pull himself back towards the front of the grid. Medium qualifying for him, putting him in sixth. Let's take a look at Bailey now. Bailey in seventh on the grid in that Mercedes. Let's see how he can do today. Very interesting to see the number 88 lining up decently well today. We'll see how he can do. Next is the second of the Tyrrells. It is Daz lining up in eighth, I believe. The Tyrrell, number 51, looking to improve upon his 5th place from last week. Daz finishing 5th after, I should mention, Matt Psycho used the wrong tires during the race, got himself a 30-second time penalty by doing so, and unfortunately for him was pushed down to 6th in the race results, giving Jam his first podium in quite a while. You can see the Williams up there. Jam getting his first podium in quite a while. Now, though, Daz finishing 5th last time out. We'll have to wait and see where he finishes this time, but qualifying 8th. Now it's the second of the McLarens. It is the Punisher. You can see that little decal there. Punisher, the Marvel series, of course, the Punisher. The Marvel character, I should say. But this time qualifying 9th for the McLaren driver. I believe an improvement upon last week. Not a fantastic result last week, though. He'll be looking to improve upon that today. Punisher starting 9th. 10th is Gasman, who you'll notice at the beginning of the stream, the game has glitched and put him in 1st at the start of the race. He is back here. It just marks him down as 1st. So fear not. He is actually in 10th. When you see Matt Psycho in 2nd right immediately, he is actually in 1st. He is in fact starting on pole, but we have that little glitch, unfortunately. But 10th position will, of course, be Gasman, the number 89 in that 2021 Ferrari livery, looking to see what he can do this week. A very quick driver. We'll wait to see what he can do. And now it is Jim Joker, the Czech driver, number 67, starting 11th on the grid. Not a brilliant result from him last week. I believe 14th. He'll be looking to improve upon that today, of course. We'll see how that goes for him, the Williams driver. With those question marks again, we'll see what he can do. Next up is our Season 4 champion. It is SNL Wolfbane, number 38. Let's see what this Ferrari driver can do. He's in 12th, lining up behind Gasman. We'll see what he can do today. 15th last race, if I am not mistaken. Then it is Pat. Pat is starting... Pat should be starting 13th. Pat is in the Red Bull, so number 4 there. We can see both Red Bulls here, actually. We'll get to the next of them in just a moment. But Pat taking quite a hard strategy, going soft, hard, I believe, today. We'll see how that pans out for the Red Bull driver. Then it is the second of the Lotuses. It is Rob on drums, number 42. It is, of course, the home race for Lotus. Renault. I might have just called him the second Lotus driver. I meant to say the second Renault driver. Rob on drums, it is the team's home race. We'll see how he and Matt Psycho can do for the team. Renault lining up 1st and 14th. Now let's take a look at 15th, though. It is Slenderfella here in the number 21, that testing livery from 2019, or I should say the release livery from 2019 for the Red Bulls. We'll see what they can do today. Slenderfella lining up 15th on the grid. And last but not least, we have Pool Shark in the Mercedes, the second in the Mercedes, a sort of Nico Rosberg-like helmet. Reminds me of Nico Rosberg's 2016 helmet, saying Josh on the side there. But yeah, let's see. Pool Shark, number 36. Let's see what he can do today. Only his second race in Formula X today. But let's see. Starting last on the grid, let's see how he does off the start, through the rest of the race, and right to the end. We'll see how he does. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your grid for today. And I've just realized I don't actually have the stream up on my phone. I should double check that, make sure everything's working all right. Hello, evening or afternoon, say Pat and Mama Sykes. Matt Sykes, it says, but I believe that is still Mama Sykes. Let's just check if my audio is working. It is indeed wonderful. Let's get going with this race. 16 cars on the grid. A beautiful day in France. I was about to say not a cloud in the sky. That would be horribly incorrect, but no chance of rain today. So just racing around this track, a lake at this track, the beautiful mountain range, and 16 beautiful cars going around it. Let's get ready for this race. I'll just quickly set up these settings correctly. Driver names off, replay loop doesn't really matter, display all. Excellent. Well, I am ready. No, all good. No, that's Matt. Alan Sykes as Mama Sykes. All right, just got confused by the profile picture. So that is indeed Matt. All right, excellent. Let's see how this race goes. As I mentioned, the glitch claiming Gasman is in first, but as you can see, it is actually Matt Psycho on pole. Just a little glitch there. Let's get going with this race now. 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights. It's lights out and we are racing here in France. Let's see how Matt gets away from the grid. He's doing excellently off the grid. Bunny's under pressure right now from Jam. Let's see Jam down the inside into turn 1. Jam makes the move. Little bit of contact there, but through relatively cleanly. Let's see if there's any chaos further back. These drivers all seem all right as this camera angle really doesn't like us. And Pool Shark appears to have had an incident. We can see damage there. Let's take a look at what's happened to him. That was not a great view. Let's see what happens to Pool Shark off the start. So not a great start for he or, I believe, Slenderfella there. So what's going to happen here? Slenderfella, ooh, just hits him in the rear, going off and into the wall. So some damage there for Pool Shark right to the back of the grid like that. That is not the start that he will have wanted, but it is Matt Psycho out in front through turn 2. Out of sector 1, let's see Jam in second. Bunny's defending from Speckmere now. Speckmere in third. We're going to have a little bit of an S section here, and then we're going to go onto the bridge. Watch these drivers as they go onto the bridge. It's worth noting that there is a large bump as they go over this corner and onto the bridge, so very easy to make a mistake there. Bailey now under pressure from Daz. Can Daz make a move here? We can see the cars in front going through the screen. Daz on the inside, off of the bridge, into the left-hander. It's a 90-degree corner here. It's Bailey going a little bit wide and Daz making the move through into 7th. Let's look further up as Speckmere seems to be getting past Bunnies here. Speckmere around the outside. A nice move for the Lotus driver, putting himself onto the podium. It's Jam. And Matt leads the way. Let's take a look further back because it's now a Loey, the second of the Lotuses, side by side with the reigning champion, Bunnies. He's going to move to the inside. Cthulhu's looking to pressure these two. What's going to happen here? On the outside is Cthulhu. On the inside is Bunnies. There's contact and Loey's off. Loey is off. He's down several positions. And let's go back and see what's happened there because it's hard to tell exactly what's gone on there. That camera view just not excellent. So let's take a look. Let's go on board with, let's say Cthulhu. He should have a good view of it. So Cthulhu on the outside here, braking a little bit late, a bit of lag, nearly hitting a Loey. Oh, and he seems like he just bumps Bunnies a little bit into a Loey, and a Loey off into the gravel. So not what they will have wanted there. I'm sure the stewards will be having a look at that. But it is now Cthulhu, or apologies, Daz on the back of Bunnies as Cthulhu has actually flown past Bunnies there. Bunny's being slowed down a bit by that as well, but Cthulhu touching the grass through the last corner. At the end of the last lap, or the first lap, apologies, it is Matt Psycho in the lead. Then it is Jam, Speckmere, Cthulhu, Bunnies, Daz, Bailey, Gasman, Punisher, Aloe, Rob on drums, Slenderfella, Wolfbane, Jim Joker, Pat, and Pool Shark. Pool Shark actually going into the pit lane already, so trying to get off of those mediums very quickly. Let's see what Pat is doing. He is here. Oh, actually, that's Jim Joker putting pressure on Wolfbane. Is he going to go down the outside? The Williams driver thinks better of it, and the Ferrari stays ahead for the time being. Oh, that's a big snap of oversteer for Pat, but an excellent save there. Let's take a look further up the grid again. Let's see. Jam, pretty safe from Speckmere, but I tell you what, Cthulhu is putting some pressure on Speckmere himself. Let's see what Cthulhu can do into the left-hander up here. He's going to go down the inside, replicating what Daz did last lap to Bailey, but he can't make the move, unlike Daz. Daz made the move on Bailey there last lap. Cthulhu unable to make the move on Speckmere this lap, as it looked like Daz and Bunny's trading positions. Daz is wide there. You can see the marbles on the outside. He has to back out, and that will not help Daz's case. Bunny's trying to break the slipstream there. Let's go back off board for a moment. Aloe a little ways back, and under pressure from Gasman, who's on the overtake. Down the inside goes the Ferrari into that right-hand kink. He's through, but Loey looked for a moment like he was going to consider down the inside, actually. He is going for it. He's going to be on the inside. Can he make the move? It's better traction for Gasman, and Gasman flies away from Loey in the acceleration zone. Rob on drums, Slenderfella, and Bailey here, all quite close together as well. Let's take a look at the front, because it looks like there's a bit of a battle going on there. It is Speckmere right behind Jam. Speckmere is going to go down the inside. Let's go on board with him for just a moment. Let's see, can he make the move down the inside into turn 1? Or can Jam break later? Jam does break later, but he's a little bit wide. Can Speckmere make a move now? He's got better acceleration. Let's go back off board for a moment. Into turn 2 on the right-hand side. And now the left-hander of turn 3. Turn 2, of course, flat out, but turn 3, a little bit of a braking zone. And now Cthulhu on the back of these two as well. It's a three-way battle going up through turn 4 now. Down towards turn 5. Speckmere is on the inside, but does not make the move on Jam. Jam is safely in second still. No position change here yet. These three drivers getting around nicely, just about managing to avoid contact, and Daz and Bunny's not far off the back of this train themselves, so the two of them will be looking to catch up. And I tell you what, let's take a look through the tires now. It is Matt Psycho on softs. He went 2 softs and a set of hards for this round, so he will be all out push this round. Jam on a set of the mediums. He went, I believe, soft, medium, hard, so we'll see. He will presumably go onto softs for the second stint. A predicted one-stop strategy today for all the drivers, probably. Speckmere in third on the softs. Fourth, Cthulhu on the softs as well. Daz on the softs. Bunny's, though, on the hards, so that might explain why he's losing time to these drivers in front, as you can see him just falling away from those in front. Gasman on the medium, managing nicely to get through the grid a bit, and Jam, actually, I should mention, Jam was on the mediums, but doing an excellent job keeping himself out in second on those mediums, but using up a lot of overtake. Matt having barely used any, Jam using almost half already, Speckmere not doing much better, and Cthulhu doing a tiny bit better than that even. Daz a little bit more, and Bunny's a fair bit left, over 3/4 left. Gasman doing nicely on his overtake, about the same as Bunny's, a little bit better even. So number 89, doing nicely on his overtake on those mediums, looking to catch up to that front group. Then it's a Lowy on the softs. Mediums for Rob on drums in the Renault. Let's see, Slenderfella on mediums as well, Bailey on softs, Jim Joker on mediums, Pat on mediums, Punisher on softs, Wolfbane on hards, and Pool Shark on the softs now. We saw Pool Shark's first lap was on the mediums, but he pitted right at the end of his first lap, so we'll see how he's doing now. Let's take a look at the middle of the field. Aloe looking pretty safe there in a bit of a no man's land. Gasman trying to catch up to Bunnies. Let's take a look up at the front. Let's go up to Speckmere. Speckmere a little ways away from Jam, so Speckmere still trying to catch up to Jam. He's in the slipstream here, but he's a little bit far back to be making a move. Cthulhu's a little bit closer there, though. Let's see what he can do. I don't think it's going to be close enough on this occasion, though, and I've just noticed Gasman has gotten past Bunny, so let's go back and see what's happened here. Bunny's just not able to defend from the slipstream, it looks like. Gasman around the outside there. Bunny's already back into the slipstream himself, and he's got damage, actually, so Bunny's probably hitting the outside wall at that long, swooping right-hander. If you take it a little bit too fast, it's a very nice save there from Bunny's, actually, but if you take that right-hander too fast, you can just clip the wall, and although it generally won't slow you down too much in the moment, it will give you damage, which really hurts you throughout the rest of the lap. I would not be surprised to see some more drivers doing that throughout the race, as Cthulhu hits the outside wall on the last corner, loses a position to his teammate. Cthulhu won the last race. Round 1 at Dragon Trail, Cthulhu won, but now he is down to 5th, and the championship standings are pretty much the results from the last round. So the championship standings as it stands are Cthulhu, Bunnies, Jam, Slenderfella, Daz, Matt, and I admit I can't actually remember after that, apologies. But let's see, Cthulhu still on the back of Daz. Daz doing well though, up to 4th. He had a solid round last round, but not quite this good. He's sitting in 4th at the moment and doing quite nicely for himself. Let's take a look at Aloe. Last we saw he was in a bit of a no man's land, but at the moment he's actually ahead of Bunnies, who has damage again. So let's see what's happened to Bunnies this time. Oh, it looks like he's just hit that wall there on the outside of the corner. We've got Aloe battling him here. You might remember Season 5 of Porsche Cup. These two actually doing battle around here as well. A bit of contact that time. This time, no contact, although he avoiding bunnies, though, as he hits the outside wall, so that bump probably what caught him out, but it might just be the hards. Hard to say. But nonetheless, that also gives Rob the opportunity to make the overtake. He's on the inside. Oh, as he hits the wall himself, though, and Bunnies and Rob both with damage, it's hard to say, will either of them have the advantage through the swooping right-hander? It's going to be Slenderfella who has the advantage, if anybody, and you can see that working as Slenderfella goes right round the outside of Bunnies. An excellent move from the Red Bull driver, getting around the reigning champion, and now going for the Season 3 champion's teammate, the Renault driver Rob on drums. Going to be on the outside here. Can Slenderfella outbreak him? He can. That's a brilliant move from the Red Bull. 2 moves almost in one go. Nicely done, Slenderfella. Well done there. That is an excellent move. Let's take a quick look back up at the front of the grid because Matt Psycho has the fastest lap of the race, a 1:43.077, and he is miles out in front of Jam. Jam is all the way back at turn 1, and Matt is exiting Sector 1. Let's take a look. Further back, though, actually, Speckmere still putting pressure on Jam, and Dad's going down the inside, not quite able to make the move, but a late lunge there, nearly actually working out for the Tyrrell driver, not quite able to do it in the end, though. Daz has to sit behind in 4th for the time being, as Cthulhu, you might notice, is actually dropping off the back of this grid. Sorry, not the back of the grid, the back of this pack, so Cthulhu down to 5th, burning up some overtake, trying to catch up after a small mistake onto the bridge there. And let's see, Gasman now, actually quite quick at the moment, up by half a second on his previous best time, which was last lap, a 1:44.799. Gasman might be putting some pressure on Cthulhu quite soon, as these drivers, I believe, just taking this corner flat out. Let's take a look at Slender. Well, he's a bit too far around the corner. Let's take a... come on, somebody who's not at the corner yet. There we go, Jim Joker. Taking this corner, not quite flat out, possibly. I might have seen the wrong thing go down, not the, I think I saw the turbo bit go down, not the gas. Apologies. We'll take a look at that next lap, but let's go back up to the front of the field, because there is a great battle going on here, as Daz is actually ahead of Speckmere now. Can we see what's happened here? It looks like it's just happened here. He's just gone down the inside at the kink. Any damage for Speckmere? No. So it's just a better run for Daz off of that swooping right-hander. Let's see Speckmere now sitting behind him. Will he have an opportunity? Let's see, where are Gasman and Cthulhu as well? Cthulhu's a little bit far off. You can just see the cars up there. Not out in the distance, I wouldn't say, but not overly close to Cthulhu. His best lap at the moment, a 1:45.1. Let's take a look at Gasman. Gasman, his best lap of 44.7, and last we saw he was improving. Let's sit on board with him for just one moment longer and see what his lap time is. Is it an improvement? It is. It's a 44.3. Let's comparatively take a look at Cthulhu, a 44.8. Cthulhu right on the back of Speckmere now. So I wonder if Speckmere probably making a mistake through that last corner or something. The last and the first corner is very, very difficult to follow through. And the Lotus driver just suffering there a little bit through the last corner, it might have seemed like, but up by half a second in the first sector. Cthulhu comparatively having a big snap of oversteer out of that third corner, so let's look further back. Bailey on the back of Rob on drums, with Bunnies on the back of him. Jim Joker a little bit further back, but let's take a look at these three. Rob on drums in 9th. Under pressure from Bailey. Can Bailey... Oh, Bailey hitting the curve a little bit, and maybe a little bit of snap of oversteer there. Tiny bit of lag, though, making a little bit difficult to tell what's going on. And Bunnies is going to be on the back, and can Bunnies make an overtake at the moment? He's going to look to the inside for a moment, doesn't go down the inside, though. Actually, almost a little bit of contact there, I think. As Bunnies, big snap of oversteer again. We keep seeing him having snaps of oversteer, so those hards just not yielding the grip that he would have wanted. Bailey looks to be safe through that swooping right-hander, and he'll be closer to Rob on drums by the end of this straight than Bunny, possibly. So Bunny's dropping off a little bit there. Let's take a look a little bit further back, though. Gasman on the back of Cthulhu still. Cthulhu, let's take a look backwards from his car. Actually, Gasman a little bit further back than I thought. So let's take a look just on board now, just touching the grass through the last corner, and Cthulhu still right on the back of Speckmere, though, and that looks like it was Daz right next to Jam. Daz on the inside, Jam on the outside into turn 1. Jam runs a little bit wide, but he's got good traction. It's going to be Daz in front, though, the Tyrrell driver taking second place, and the Tyrrell driver is just going to hold it. Into turn 3 now. The left-hander, Daz, is ahead of Jam, so Jam down to third. Oh, that looks like a big snap of overs here for Cthulhu. Let's go back and look at that, because that looked quite massive, actually. Let's take a look at how this goes for the Spaniard. Lap 8 now, through turn 2, and next up turn 3. Maybe it was a bit of lag, but I think that was a pretty big snap of overs here. As, yeah, I think maybe just a little bit of lag, but definitely a big snap of overs here as well. So, let's take a look in the mid-pack. Still this group of 3 close together. Actually, that's a group of 4 now, and a different group as well, as it seems like Rob on drums has pulled away from Bailey a little bit. But back to Bailey. He looks like he's under a little bit of pressure from Bunnies. Then Jim Joker looks like he's under a bit of pressure from Punisher. So the Canadian McLaren duo putting some pressure on the cars ahead of them. And it is Jim Joker right in front of Punisher. And Punisher, you can see him just trying to stick in the slipstream of the Williams driver. The number 67 just trying to pull away, but not quite able to at the moment. Let's take a look. What can Punisher do through the next few corners? Because he's getting quite close to the back of Jim Joker. Has Jim Joker struggling with the back end a little bit there as well? Let's see how this goes. Punisher's going to struggle through the dirty air there, but can he use the slipstream? Can he use the overtake? Can he use his own overtake? Can he make an overtake, I should say, as Punisher down the inside? He's going to make the move through the right-hand kink, and he should be through even before the braking zone. He is, but Jim Joker's looking at the inside. Can't brake late enough to make the move, and that is the Punisher up into 12th behind his teammate Bunnies in 11th. So, oh, actually, I saw a movement there for a second. Was there movement back here? It might have been up at the front. It was, I believe, Speckmere getting past Jam. So what's happened to Jam? Just clattering into the wall there. Speckmere's going to use the overtake. He's going to go down the inside, and he's through. Will this even give Cthulhu an opportunity here? Cthulhu in 5th, our championship leader, is quite low on overtake. He looks like he's struggling to keep up. He looked like he cut that corner just a tiny little bit, but might have just been legal. It's hard to tell with that corner. Of course, no curbing, just that green bit of AstroTurf, but a very easy bit of AstroTurf to keep the car going on. And Cthulhu is through on Jam. So Cthulhu up to 4th. It's going very well for Tyrrell today. 2nd and 4th, Daz will be looking to catch Matt, but Matt putting in better lap times. Matt has consistently been in the 43s since the 2nd lap. Comparatively, Daz hasn't made it into the 43s yet. His best lap of 44.1. So, Matt still pulling away, and the Renault driver dominating this race. This is the kind of thing we would see from Cool Dude Boy back in Season 5, apologies. Cool Dude Boy and Bunnies occasionally doing this sort of thing back in Season 5, where they would just shoot away from the pack. This time it's Matt Psycho's turn here in Season 7, and the Renault driver doing a very good job of it. And as I mentioned, Cool Dude Boy, I'm thinking not the first time that a yellow car has dominated like this. This time not entirely yellow. Last time it was a yellow Jordan. This time a yellow and white Renault. Back to 2nd though, Daz here in 2nd place. He looks pretty comfortable ahead of Speckmere. If we go on board with Speckmere for just a moment, you can see Daz way up there. So Daz looking very safe in 2nd now. On the other hand, Cthulhu just touching the grass on the outside of the last corner. I wonder if that could possibly even be tactical in some way, because we've seen him doing it quite a bit. Jam has fallen back a little bit on his mediums, and Gazman might be putting some pressure on him soon if Jam isn't careful. So let's see how the Ferrari driver does, as actually Thunderfella into the pit lane here on lap 9. And if he's trying to pull off a one-stop, then I think he will have to surely fill up to a full fuel tank, in which case we would need 14 laps of fuel would be a full fuel tank if he's going for a one-stop. We'll wait and see how much he fills up to. He does go up to 100%. He's going to come out ahead of Wolfbane, it seems like. There he is, yep, way up the road. Wolfbane here in 15th. Those cards not paying dividends for the Ferrari driver. The other Ferrari driver, on the other hand, though, Gazman, doing quite well and even closer to the back of Jam than last time. Let's ride on board with him for just one moment. has some wonderful engine noises there. It looks like Jam might have just clipped the wall a little bit. Let's take a look on the TV cam. He doesn't have damage, but Gasman seems to be closing in quite quickly. Is Gasman going to look to the inside, to the outside? He goes to the inside. Can he brake late enough into the right-hander? He can't make the move. The Williams just staying ahead for the time being. Both of these drivers on the mediums, but look how much less wear Jam has. His front tires doing miles better than Gasman's, although their rear tires seeming quite even. So Gasman really pushing those mediums on the front end. Oh, and he just can't make the turn there. The dirty air presumably being what killed him there. But Gasman into the wall, loses a position to a Lowly, and not what the Brit will have wanted, as you can see actually. All of the top 7, except for 4th, which is of course Cthulhu, are British. So British dominance here today almost. Cthulhu just sort of putting a spanner in the works if you wanted true British dominance. And so yeah, let's take a look further back. It's the two McLarens quite close together. Punisher back here, and Bailey still running ahead of Bunnies. So Bunnies has been chasing Bailey for quite a while. Comparatively, Rob pulling away quite a bit from Bailey. We saw them quite close together at one point, Bailey and Rob, but Rob doing much better now compared to Bailey than he was, say, 5-6 laps ago. So Rob putting in some good lap times. Let's take a look further back. Bailey in 9th, 10th Bunnies, 11th Punisher, 12th Jim Joker, 13th Pat, 14th Slenderfellow, Wolfbane 15th, and 16th is Poolshark. Not a brilliant round so far for Poolshark, but pushing hard nonetheless. Let's take a look back at Matt for just a second now. Matt doing quite well. He's at the last corner, while Daz hasn't even entered the last sector. So Matt really dominating this race, and Daz doing quite well actually as well. He's decently far ahead of Specmere, and his fastest lap now a 143.6. It's a very good lap for the Tyrrell driver. Let's take a look at Specmere. Is he under pressure from Cthulhu? Just a little bit, but Cthulhu runs wide. I'm not sure how he didn't get damage there, but he's into the pits. So Cthulhu into the pits. Who else will be into the pits on this lap, if anybody? Usually when one of the front runners goes into the pits, it generally means other people will be in too, but it doesn't seem to be the case on this occasion, as Rob on drums continues on his way. And oh, that's a spin back. That's a spin back there, I think. That looks like Bailey going for a spin. Bailey on the back of Bunnies. What's gonna happen to Bailey here? Bailey's just gonna, oh, he clips the grass and he hits the wall. So Bailey, not what he wanted there, as Bunnies actually into the pits as well. So does Bailey. Bailey goes into the pits, and so does Bunnies. So those two into the pits after Cthulhu. Let's take a look at Pat and Slenderfella. Neither of the Red Bulls into the pits on this occasion. Bunnies, the other hard runner on the grid. Wolfbane also on the hards. So we'll see if the second of the hard runners goes into the pits as well. Let's watch this Ferrari for just a moment. See if he will go into the pits at the end of this lap 11. He chooses not to, and Poolshark will come back to him in a minute. We'll take a look to see if he does. But it's Jam in 4th now. Jam doing quite well in that Williams. He was a podium sitter last time in P3 after post-race penalties. Let's see Specmere in 3rd. Let's take a look at some of the fastest laps of the top few guys. So fastest lap, of course, of the race belongs to Matt Psycho. As we can see, Poolshark does not appear to have pitted. Matt Psycho has the fastest lap of the race with a 143.077. Then it's Daz with a 43.6, a 44.4 for Specmere, 44.9 for Jam, 44.2 for Aloe, 44.3 for Gasman, 45.7 for Rob, 44.4 for Cthulhu. Punisher has a 44.7. 45.7 for Jim Joker, 44.2 for Slenderfella, Pat a 45.8, Bunnies a 45.4, a 46.8 for Wolfbane, Bailey a 45.9, and Poolshark a 45.9 as well. So actually, those two Mercedes quite close together on fastest lap, and Bailey right on the back of the Ferrari. It's Mercedes versus Ferrari, and I have to say, those two liveries close together look very nice. I quite like seeing that Mercedes versus Ferrari battle as Bailey swoops through on Wolfbane. What a move! That looked incredible. I have to go back and see that again. That was immense. Let's see what Bailey does here. He's way back on the Ferrari, but he's just able to brake that much later. Flies through on the inside. That was an impressive move, it must be said. That is really, really smooth from the Mercedes. Looked close to contact there, but I don't think there was any. And these two still battling down towards the final corner. Let's see how the dirty air affects Wolfbane on these hards, as that was a Marshall holding a yellow flag. I wonder if there was an incident further up. Wolfbane does not pit again, but Pat does. So that is the Red Bull into the pits, changing his tires, presumably refueling as well. He actually has some rear wing damage, so that might have been what the yellow flag was. Let's take a look at... Oh dear, that is not what Pat will have wanted. Let's take a look quickly here. Pat through the last corner. Looks like he clips the grass, loops the car, and hits the barrier. So not what Pat will have wanted. Managing to just be out of the way of Bunnies in time. So not what Pat will have wanted, but just out of the way of Bunnies. So no unsafe rejoin there, but again, definitely not what he wanted. As Bunnies flying along on his new softs, we'll have to wait and see what he does or how he does, I should say, on those soft compound tires. Slender Fella also on the softs, a 44.2 just a couple laps ago, doing quite well in that Red Bull. Let's take a look further up though. Cthulhu. Daz down to 4th, so he's pitted as well. Gasman and Jam haven't pitted on their mediums yet. Daz has pitted, Cthulhu is pitted, Speckmere is pitted, and he's behind Cthulhu. Rob on Drums, I don't believe is pitted, and the Punisher right on the back of Rob on Drums. Rob on Drums has damage. This might be Punisher's opportunity. Can the McLaren fly past the Renault? He's going to be on the outside. Is Rob on Drums' damage gone? It seems to be. He's using a bit of overtake to stay in 7th. Punisher's going to be on the outside. Let's go back to the TV cam. Punisher on the outside into the right-hander. Can he get that better traction on the exit? He can. Number 24 past number 42. A nice move for the Punisher. The McLaren up to 7th position. Of course, he will need to pit soon, though, as he is on the softs, a 44.7. His fastest lap time so far, a 46.6, his most recent lap time. Surely he'll need to pit now. Those softs look torn up, but he chooses not to. He keeps on going, and the medium runner, Rob, goes into the pits himself. So does Gasman, but you'll notice that the medium runner that he was with, Jam, is not into the pits. So Jam actually bringing his fuel quite far on this occasion compared to most of the other drivers. You can see almost everyone around him is pitted. The Punisher hasn't, Jam hasn't, and let's take a look to see if there's anybody else who visibly hasn't, as Bunny's with damage on his front bumper and his front left. And it seems like, oh, that's almost a spin for Wolfbane. Wolfbane into the pits now, though. And that makes, I believe, all but 3 drivers having pitted now. Actually, all but 2. Poolshark did pit on lap 1, but it looks like he'll need to pit again any time now, as he actually chooses to do so this lap. So it's just Jam and Punisher who still need to pit. Those two bringing their medium and soft tires, respectively, quite far. So let's take a look. What can Jam do here? As Matt, very comfortable out in first, we can see him there, going around the last corner in just a second, flying through. Ooh, actually clips the wall there, does the soft runner, and across the line, though, it's going to be a 42.3, a new fastest lap, and what a lap that is, a 42.3, that is really excellent, as Jam into the pits now, after 14 full laps of the race. Jam is into the pits. It'll be Daz who will claim 2nd place in this race now. For now, we'll see if anybody can challenge him through the rest of the race, but even his teammate Cthulhu seems a little ways back. Speckmere behind him. Jam is going to be behind all of these guys when he comes out of the pits. Where is he going to be? The Williams driver comes out of the pits in 5th, just as the Punisher comes into the pits, and a nice McLaren-looking suit for his pit crew. Nice to see those matching overalls for the pit crew compared to the car, as Punisher's teammate Bunnies goes through the shot now, as his lap time's glitched for a moment, still a little bit glitched. Looks like his fastest lap is a 45.3 now, so doing not as well as he probably would have liked on those softs, as Matt's fastest lap is almost exactly 3 seconds faster than Bunny's. So Bunny's will surely, after second place last season, after his second place last race and championship last season, will surely be hoping to be a bit closer to the front of the grid at some point later in this race. Can he pick up the pace, or will he just have to wait till next race to be up at the front again? Hard to say, but Rob on drums himself actually doing quite well here in 10th, I would say. A 1:45.7 is his fastest lap, but he's looking very comfortable here. Nobody's super close to him in front or behind. Punisher probably a few seconds off the back. And Pat saying, that was one of my many mistakes I made during this race. Decided the quick spin turn way was better than just sitting there facing the wrong way. And said, just realized I was a little behind live. No worries, I don't think I noticed your comment right away. Yeah, so just a few mistakes in the race, says Pat. But unfortunately for him, we got to see one of them. A little bit spectacular, but nonetheless, the Brit's still doing his best in the Red Bull, and that's what matters than the number 4. That's what matters for all the drivers, I should say. But the number 4 definitely doing his best nonetheless, as that's a new fastest lap, or personal fastest lap for Gasman, a 43.5, and it looks like a Lowy set a new personal best as well, a 43.3, so a very good lap for those two British drivers there, as Cthulhu is in 3rd, and under pressure from Speckmere, who's in 4th, of course. Speckmere in the Lotus. Let's just ride on board with him for just a moment. I'll give you a second to listen to the two engines of the Tyrrell and the Lotus here, as I sort of rest my voice for a quick second. Some beautiful cars and beautiful engines in this race today, as the Lotus chasing down the Tyrrell, Speckmere on the back of Cthulhu. I would imagine Speckmere, based on it looks like he might have a little bit of a pace advantage at the moment, so I would imagine he'll be looking to make a move soon. He gained about half a tenth actually on Cthulhu last lap, but we'll see Speckmere sitting right on the back of Cthulhu. We'll see if he can make a move at any point, and Cthulhu, his light above his airbox is out, as he actually just clips the wall, it looks like there, and Speckmere makes it through into 3rd. But now I should mention the overtake, which I haven't done yet. You will notice that there is a green light above the air intake on Speckmere's car. That is not a Lotus thing, that is just a Super Formula car thing. So, what that means is that he has 25% or more overtake left. If you're new to the series, that just means that he has 25% or more overtake left in the overtake tank for this race. We'll take a look through the grid. Is there anybody here who has a red light yet? Because the red light has interesting meaning as well. Actually, let's see, Bailey here has a red light above his head. Again, not a Mercedes thing. That just means he has less than 25% of his overtake left in this race. And let's take a look at Cthulhu, the one who sort of made me remember this. Cthulhu doesn't have any light above his head. The light is out. That means that he is out of overtake. So Cthulhu, as we can see, Speckmere has more than 25% left, and Cthulhu has none left. Speckmere will have the advantage for the rest of the race in terms of overtake. Comparatively, let's take a look at Matt, now down to the red on overtake. A 42.2 is his fastest lap now, and of course the fastest lap of the race with that. Let's take a look at Daz, 43.6, 43.9, 43.3 for Jam, 43.3 for Jam, that's quite good, but where's Cthulhu gone? Where is Cthulhu gone? Cthulhu, oh my goodness, that looked big. What has happened to Cthulhu here? So entering the final sector, he runs a little bit wide, patches the gravel, spins, and hits the walls. Front wing damage. Oh, it's just nearly collecting Jam. So I'd actually like to go on board with Jam. We'll just watch this one more time, because I'd like to see the on board of Jam for that incident. Let's see what happens. just coming through. It's going to be so unexpected that Cthulhu appears there, and so close to contact. Cthulhu just making it away though there, and he's down to 5th though. So Jam on a good lap, but Cthulhu losing some time there. Aloe, Gasman actually pressuring Aloe now. Gasman round the outside, he can't quite make the move, but he's going to go down the inside for the final corner. The Ferrari driver trying to make the move on Aloe. Aloe, oh, a bit of contact as Gasman flies to the inside of the circuit, nearly hitting the pit wall. Just a little bit of contact there, but Aloe with damage will be under pressure from Gasman still. Gasman will have the advantage now as they both run off the track onto the grass, and Gasman losing some time there. Slenderfella might even sniff a chance here at 7th position. Let's take a look. Slenderfella a little bit too far back from Gasman to be able to do that actually, but nonetheless, look at that beautiful Red Bull. And you can see the nice lake with the bridge that we drive over there, some camping grounds, nice flowers here. We are at a truly beautiful circuit here in France, Saint-Croix. If only this weren't a fictional circuit, because I would love to see real race cars going around here in real life. I say that as though the Super Formulas aren't real race cars. I just mean in real life. Apologies for that. Let's take a look at the front of the grid though. Let's take a look at Matt. Still going very well. Is it the 43 flat? So this driver, this Renault, flying along on lap 19. It looks like he might go lights the flag, but we have to make sure he has to be careful he doesn't make any massive mistakes, because as much as he does have a huge gap to Daz, a huge mistake could bring that down. Let's take a look. What might his gap be? Let's take a quick look. When Daz crosses the line, about almost half a minute behind Matt is Daz. So Daz, the Tyrrell driver, running an excellent race himself, got a solid gap back to Speckmere there. You can look back from the onboard of Daz, and you can only just see Speckmere for a moment. So the Lotus driver well behind Daz, but nonetheless, Matt has a much more sizable gap to Daz even. So Daz running a pretty lonely race at the moment. Can't afford to make any big mistakes, but overall, running a little bit of a lonely race right now, it looks like. He reserved once last season at Daytona, put in an excellent result. He's won in Formula X before. He's in 2nd at the moment. He's a bit far back to make any moves on Matt, given that's almost half a minute between them. But Daz, this is not the first time we've seen him doing well, and I don't think it'll be the last time either. He won in at the Nordschleife in Season 4. Season 5, I don't believe he raced at all. Season 6, he had a reserve appearance in the Benetton, I'd like to say, at Daytona. Did quite well for himself there. Took P4 in P2 at the moment. Doing very well is the Brit. Now we've got Speckmere in 3rd, though. Doing very well, keeping himself on the podium. I believe he got a podium at the final round last season in Mount Panorama, so not ultimately surprised that any of these 3 drivers are doing very well. All 3 of these drivers on the podium have had podiums before, have had wins before even, but doing very well, and especially Daz and Speckmere, you often see right at the front of the midfield, sometimes getting unlucky though, not quite able to take the podium, but doing very well today, as Jam actually has the fastest lap of the race, not this lap that he's just finished, but the lap before, a 42 flat, exactly. So that is an excellent lap from Jam. I wonder if we could see anyone going into the 41s throughout the rest of the race, but it would be very difficult. I know some drivers were able to do it in practice, but hard to say if they'll be able to do it now. That is an exceptional lap from Jam, though. And Cthulhu actually behind Aloe now as well. I wonder if that's a recent overtake, but he's going to be under pressure from Slenderfella and Gasman now as well. Gasman on the softs, Slenderfella on the softs, but Gasman's softs doing a bit better than Slenderfella's. And Cthulhu's compared to Gasman's softs are looking better than Cthulhu's as well. So let's ride on board with the Ferrari for just a moment. The 2021 Ferrari livery. We got Gasman here, flying along behind Slenderfella. Slenderfella is actually right on the back of Cthulhu. I wonder if he could make a move here. Down the inside, the Red Bull can't brake late enough at all, but We'll see on this next section if he can hold right behind him on the swooping right-hander. Then if he can just stick in the slipstream, he might have a potential move into the right-hander up here. Can the Red Bull do anything to beat that Tyrrell? As actually Gasman looks like he might have clipped something as there was some smoke coming out of his tires there. Let's take a look at Thunderfellow though. He's right on the back of Cthulhu. Is it going to be a potential move for the Red Bull? Can he make the move? He can't. The Spaniard defends on the inside. The Tyrrell driver doing a good job to keep P6 for the time being, but Thunderfellow right on the back of him. It's hard to imagine Thunderfellow won't continue to pressure him. Thunderfellow putting in some excellent results recently. It was 4th position last time, about half a tenth off of the podium. Let's see what Thunderfellow can do now. Thunderfellow on the back of Cthulhu as Cthulhu gets a big snap of oversteer there. It's going to be Thunderfellow on the outside. He makes the move easily. He is through well before the braking zone, and it's going to be Gasman now who's going to be trying to put pressure on Cthulhu. Cthulhu runs off into the grass. Cthulhu's off. Championship leader into the grass, off the track, into 8th position. And Gasman is through, and he's going to be pressuring Thunderfellow himself now. The Ferrari driver doing great now in 7th. He's going to look to take 6th soon. Let's take a look right up at the front again. Anybody close together up here? Matt, of course, well ahead of Daz. Daz not super far ahead of Specmere, but not at a distance where he should be concerned unless he makes any big mistakes. Jam a little ways back as well. Lowy in a bit of not quite a no man's land, but he is a little ways ahead of Slenderfella and well behind Jam. But Slenderfella under pressure from Gasman. Cthulhu, his mistake hasn't put him too close to anyone behind him as Bunnies has gone off. What's happened to Bunnies? Bunnies on his own here almost. Rob a little bit ahead of him, but surely an unforced mistake from Bunnies. Rob seems to make it through this corner fine as Bunnies hits the curb, lands the car, and spins it. So his car just getting up in the air a little bit there, and presumably just the landing sending him off. But it's actually going to be his teammate now, Punisher. Will Punisher be able to make it through on Bunnies? Bunnies is going to have damage going down onto the straight. His teammate might overtake him, so we've got the 2 Canadians close together now. Let's take a quick look back at Gasman. Make sure he isn't making an overtake on Thunderfella yet. He is not. Gasman, oh, actually, Thunderfella, a bit of a snap of oversteer, but Gasman just putting pressure on Thunderfella. No moves yet. I would imagine we'll see him trying to make some soon, as it is Punisher going past Bunnies. So the McLarens swap positions, and that does not appear to be team orders or anything. I think that was just a result of Bunny's damage. Bunny's with a 42.2 as his recent fastest lap of the race, or personal best lap of the race, I should say, and that's Bunny's in the gravel now. So Bunny's going off track. We've seen both of our top 2 drivers in the championship off the track just recently, and Cthulhu's gotten himself damaged. So Cthulhu and Bunny's both having something of a disaster of a race. Matt's penalty last week put him down to 6th. Matt is in 1st now. I would expect, if things end like this, I would expect Matt will be in the championship lead. Hard to say for certain, I'm not great at quick maths, but Matt in 1st at the moment, and doing very well for himself. He's on the penultimate lap. He'll be starting his final lap quite soon, and he has been so quick this race. Daz in 2nd, a 42.8 quite recently, so Daz still going quite quickly. A 42.9 pretty recently from Specmere as well, so Specmere not too far off of Daz actually. And there's challenging here as we have Jam actually just lapping Pat here. Let's take a look back a moment at Slenderfella. Gasman has fallen off the back of Slenderfella a little bit, and I skipped over him. Aloe here. Oh, that's Pat. That looks like Pat has gone around on the track map. No, maybe it wasn't him. Oh, apologies. I think it was Pool Shark. So let's just take one last run through the grid, because we haven't done that too much. Matt Psycho in 1st. 2nd place is Daz. 3rd is Specmere. 4th is Jam. 5th is Aloe. 6th Slenderfella. 7th Gasman. 8th is Cthulhu. 9th Rob on drums. 10th is the Punisher. 11th is the Canadian. Sorry, apologies, the Canadian. I was reading the nicknames there by accident. Sorry. 11th is Bunnies. 12th is Bailey, as Bunny's almost going off again there. 12th is Bailey. 13th, Jim Joker. 14th, Wolfbane. Pat is 15th, and Full Shark is 16th. As apologies, I keep almost calling Cthulhu Bruno due to that nickname. and I accidentally called Bunnies the Canadian there. Just the nicknames, but we try to use the actual usernames here when we're doing the commentary. But Matt doing very well. Let's take a look further back on the grid, make sure there's no movement going on too much at the moment, as there doesn't appear to be anything at the moment. Let's see. Let's just watch Matt then, as he comes through the final sector. The Renault driver at France is doing an exceptional job. It's being dominant. It's being lights to flag. It's going to be victory for the Brit in the Renault at Renault's home race. Matt Psycho wins in St. Croix, France, and takes what will probably be the championship lead. Matt Psycho is your winner for round 2. Daz now is going to come through the final sector, and you can just see the gap that is there. Daz so far behind Matt, and Daz ran an exceptionally good race today. That was just pure dominance from Matt. It's gonna be Daz in second though. The Tyrrell driver takes a podium home. In second in France, Speckmere takes third, his second podium in 3 races if I'm not mistaken. Jam, fourth. It was third last week, it's fourth this week. Fourth on track both times, third last time after penalties. Aloe is going to be fifth. Sixth will be Gasman behind him in the Ferrari as Aloe crosses the line. Gasman sixth. Cthulhu's gonna come home in seventh. So Cthulhu, not the round he will have wanted. And with that, I believe for sure Matt Psycho will take the championship lead. It's gonna be Slenderfella in 8th. 9th goes to Rob on drums. 10th is going to be Bunnies. Bunnies has actually gotten out of his teammate on this lap. Bunnies is into 10th. 11th is going to be Punisher, so it's a McLaren 10-11. Not the result that they will have wanted, but making it across the line all right. It's going to be Bailey in 12th, and 13th will be Jim Joker. Let's watch Bailey cross the line here, and then let's go quickly back to Wolfbane 14th. 15th is Pat, and 16th is Pool Shark. So let's go quickly to Jim Joker and make sure we can pause before it ends the replay for us. As Jim Joker comes across the line in 13th, and that is round 2 for you today. So, Matt Psycho in first place. The Renault driver takes victory, and with it, the championship lead. Let's take a look, as actually the Stewards report was released just before I started this stream. So let's take a quick look at the standings now. Standings after round 1 were Cthulhu, Bunnies, Jam, Slenderfella, Daz, Matt, Rob, Gasman, Aloe, Speckmere, Bailey, Pat, Wolfbane, Jim Joker, Pool Shark, Punisher. But now they are Matt Psycho in first on 44 points. Daz in second on 41 points. Jam is third with 40 points. 38 points is fourth for Cthulhu. Fifth is Bunnies on 33 points. 30 points for Slenderfella in sixth. Seventh and eighth are Speckmare and Aloe on 28 and 24 points. Another 24 points for Gasman. Rob on drums Rob on drums in 10th on 22 points. 11 points for Bailey in 11th. Punisher is in 12th with 7 points, as are 7 points actually for Punisher, Pat, Wolfbane, and Jim Joker. All of those 4 on 7 points in 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th respectively, and Pool Shark in 16th on 3 points. As for the constructors' standings, it is Tyrrell in first on 79 points, 67 points for Renault, 63 points for Lotus, Williams on 47 points, 5th is McLaren on 40 points, 6th is Red Bull on 37 points, Ferrari on 31 points, and last but not least is Mercedes on 14 points. So, I say that I should have run through the updated results because there were penalties, as a time penalty for Cthulhu puts him down to 9th. So your official race results are Matt Psycho in first. Second is Daz, 28 seconds behind. Speckmere third. Jam fourth. Aloe fifth. 6th is Gasman. 7th is Slenderfella. 8th is Rob on drums, 9th is Cthulhu after a 10-second time penalty, 10th is Bunnies, 11th is Punisher, 12th is Bailey, 13th is Jim Joker, 14th is Wolfbane, 15th is Pat, and 16th is Pool Shark, with fastest lap going to Jam with a 1:42 flat. So, let's take a look. Just make sure there hasn't been anything new in the chat. Enjoyed that one, says Matt. Thanks, Bunnies, for comms. No worries. Had a lot of fun. Enjoyed this one. I enjoyed every time, but I especially enjoyed this one. This was a lot of fun. A great race to commentate. Dominance from Matt, it must be said. And let's just read quickly. Domination, barring fastest lap from Matt Psycho 16 as he takes the win and top spot in the championship at this early part of the season. Daz and Jam hot on his heels with strong races. Strong race from Lotus team of Speckmere and Aloe, both claiming top 5 finishes to bring both claiming top 5 finishes. Apologies. The curse of the number 1 continues as Bonnie's had a difficult race, but he will be keen to break the curse over the next 3 races and retain his title. Next race, Tokyo Expressway, east clockwise. So, that was just the general section in the steward's briefing for the drivers, and yeah, very, very interesting race there. And worth just quickly mentioning, next round is, of course, as stated, will be, of course, Tokyo Expressway. We have 1 driver change for that race. Our official reserve, Ajax, will be stepping in for Pool Shark for Tokyo Expressway. Ajax, another Canadian on the grid, will drive the Mercedes in his number 12. We'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, we've got a week to wait, and I will see you next week. Thank you to everybody who watched. Had a lot of fun today, and yeah, I'll catch you next time. See y'all later.